Hello again, welcome back everyone. LiquorHound here with you, and thank you for joining me once again for another spirit review video. And today we're going to be taking a look at a legendary whiskey, a legendary single malt, coming from the Brora distillery. This is the Brora 35-year-old. This is not a new whiskey. This was released back in 2013. There was only 2,944 of them to go around. It was bottled at natural cask strength of 49.9% ABV. Retail pricing, all right, back in 2013, back in 2013, retail pricing on it was about $650. Now, if you want to get your hands on a bottle today, you can still do it. And a lot of auctions still have these popping up every now and then. You're going to be looking at a price of probably about $2,000, maybe a touch over that. So definitely not a everyday whiskey, anything like that. But, you know, in these crazy times, it's always good to have a great pour on hand just in case you feel like celebrating life. And that's what we're going to do today. So Brora 35, 49.9%. Let's give it a go. All right, on the nose. Yeah, it's crazy. It's malty, waxy, slightly briny, balanced malt. It's beautiful. I mean, when I'm searching the nose, you can pick up light hints of heather and granola and those cereal grain notes. You know, you get all that. The honeycomb, the beeswax is in there. Right there. Really nice barley tone as well. There's a real subtle hint of dried lavender underneath. But the cereal grains right up on top, that big malt, honey malt tone is really, really nice. What was surprising to me was how waxy it was on the nose. I wasn't expecting that. Now, the one thing is missing a little bit on the nose that I remember from that 3007 was that really big barnyard tone. And barnyard may not sound good to some, but people that have had those old Broras, when they get that barnyard, it's hard to imagine. It's just like I just always picture like a fruit basket sitting in that muddy farm soil, kind of. It's very unique. And this one has just the slightest little hint of it on the nose, but it's not as big as I was hoping, not as big as I was wanting. But keep searching. Search the edge of that glass. There's a little hint of there's a little hint of like a toasted nuttiness in here. Maybe a little hint of like a shaved coconut, just a little bit of a toasted coconut in there. It's kind of unique. But really, I mean, that's a very, very delicate note in here. The big one is just that cereal grain, malt, honey, waxy. Those are the big tones. And a little bit of that brine, because it does give you a little bit of that sea salt air going on. Jeez. Okay. Let's give it a taste. Ooh, good grief. Wow. That's the beauty of these whiskeys. You know, so often nowadays, I get so used to being able to pull everything out on the nose. So a lot of times, you know, my nosing notes and my tasting notes will be very similar. And that's just because a lot of times whiskeys or spirits these days are pretty straightforward. I mean, what you pick up on the nose, you're going to pick up on the palate. That is not true for old whiskeys. Wow, there is so much more going on the palate on this bottle. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But let's see if we can sort this out. Okay, here we go. Inner solid medium, just above medium viscosity. It's not super oily, but it's definitely there. It kind of hits you right up front with this malty cereal grain tone. You get this twinge of, oof, and here it goes, it's still transitioning. You get this twinge of a rush of fruits, and the fruits to me are kind of like, it's almost like dried apples, a little bit of a berry, stewed down berries, a little raspberry, strawberry, cherry tone. There's a little bit of that in there, but they're cooked down really well. You kind of get that rush, and then you get that little twinge of that dried apple that adds that little twang, that little sourness to it. And that's what you pick up in here. And then you start noticing this big kind of brooding, swelling, expanding, I would say, of the whiskey on the palate. And it starts turning into you start getting a little bit of the, it's kind of strange, but I almost pick up like a charred, I don't know, I would almost call it like a charred fish. There's the smoke element, and then you get a little bit of that brine kicking in, so you get a little bit of that charred fish going on. And then you get a nuttiness on the finish as it starts turning and transforming into the oak again. Gosh, let me see if I can, let's keep on researching. Let's see. Yeah, waxy, malty, honey, beeswax, cinnamon, ooh, old leather, tobacco. The peat is starting right there on the mid palate. When the old leather kicks in, you start noticing the peat rushes in, and it kind of feels like a nice cigar ash. Not too ashy though. It's not sooty, anything like that. It's just really nice. I would almost call it just like a nice cigar, that type element. That twinge of those, that little tartness of that dried apple is in there. Those real caramelized fruits are in there, but they're laying underneath everything. Big waxiness. That brine that's in there. It's not super fishy, because when I start thinking about it, I'm like, that Lagavulin 0721, that had that smoke kippering, that really, you've got the fish on the stick over the fire right there at the ocean side. This one doesn't quite have that amount, so I'm going to kind of retract that little baked charred fish. But it's very delicate. There's a hint of it. Let's just say it like that. There's a little whisper of that going on. But I think what it is just the combination of the brine element in there, and then you get all those other tones kind of mixing in, and that's just what it triggered in my mind. Finish is very long. That old leather though, that is just really rolling. All right, man. What's to say? Brora 35 is beautiful. It's got a really nice nuttiness to it, which I'm picking up now. It's just almost like you get overwhelmed by all the notes that are hitting you. It's hard to, because when you're focusing on one, there's one hitting you, from this side, and it's this whole different tone, and you're like, whoa, what is the peat doing? And then you turn around, then here comes the brine, the smoky, the nuttiness, that kind of thing starts coming in. And it's almost like you can't even catch your breath till the finish, and even then you're like, what just happened? What just happened? Oh, Brora 35. Yeah. Why can't you be $200? Come on. But yeah, hopefully, there's still some great whiskeys to be experienced out there even today that aren't breaking the bank. You don't have to spend $20 $40,000 on an old Macallan to create and experience great whiskeys. You don't have to do that. You know, but you do have to do your research, and hopefully you can, you know, check secondary auctions, Google some, you know, some reviews, and you'll find that there's a lot of whiskeys out there that have, especially from independent bottlers that are doing single casks. There's a lot of great single casks. That's how come I did the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society review recently, because their stuff, some of their really old stuff can be phenomenal. So anyway, there's still great stuff out there. I want to thank you for joining me here on YouTube at my LiquorHound channel. Of course, if you like content like this, but you want even more, join me over at my patreon.com/LiquorHound channel, where I'm doing a review every week. Now, keep leaving all those great comments. I will get back to them just as soon as I can. Thank you. Everyone have a great day, and cheers.